This is the early morning of the 15th of November. Clip put up by Katie Phang. Title, Oh My God, Trump Panics Over Impending Epstein Vote. Plays for about 10 minutes. Let's have a listen.
The latest documents provided by the Epstein estate in response to a congressional subpoena served by House Oversight has blown up Donald Trump's world. It's the only thing, frankly, more or less, that we've all been talking about the last couple of days. But I wanted to know, what's the next step? What's the plan moving forward now that we have all of this amazing information? So I had Congressman Robert Garcia, the leading Democrat from House Oversight, join me. And you're going to want to hear what he had to say. Joining me now is one of my absolute favorite people, politicians, whatever title you want to use for him, Congressman Robert Garcia from California. Congressman Garcia, first of all...
This is the guy that I called and left a message with his aide about that birthday card that Trump reportedly sent. And I said, you need to have it analyzed for DNA. Never heard back from him. Huh? Again, these guys are all worthless. But let's listen to what he has to say.
Props where they are deserved. House Oversight led by you on the Dem side. Y'all have been the ones that have been busting this thing wide open when it comes to the Epstein file, so I applaud you for that. One of the things you've been incredibly persistent upon is making sure that transparency is provided to the American people. I had a few specifics that I wanted to get into with you because there's been a lot of coverage of the release of those documents that came from the Epstein estate, but you know me, as a lawyer, I want to follow up on some of it. So the first thing is, when the heck are we going to see Ghislaine Maxwell in front of House Oversight for the depot that still hasn't happened?
That's a good question. We had the same exact question because when we first initially had that request and we were talking to Comer and the committee about it, they said, oh, we're going to wait for the Supreme Court appeal.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, the Supreme Court appeal happened. Then they said, oh, well, it's almost, it's on its way. We're working with them directly. We had some communication with them as well with the lawyers. And then the shutdown happened. They said, oh, it's the shutdown. And, we can't do anything during the shutdown, which of course we know is not true. We've been working this entire time. And so now the question is, when will she appear? And it's more critical than ever that she come in front of oversight. Look, we know she wants a pardon. We know she wants a commutation. We know she's a serial liar. Those are all things that we have to accept as we hear what she has to say. But we have a lot of questions. And I think that she has an opportunity, hopefully, to do the right thing. And that's been hard for her in her life, considering the horrors that she has committed. But we need to have her in front of the committee. And so I'm hoping that we get a date on that soon. And we've been asking Comer when that is going to happen. She right now, as you know, is having secret meetings apparently, and is having conversations with folks that we aren't aware of. And so it's very concerning that she was moved, that she's getting special treatment. She's a convicted sex trafficker. She herself has committed horrible acts.
Reportedly, she has her own puppy now. Huh? Isn't that kind? They're going to get rid of her. They have to get rid of her. She'll slip on a banana peel or a bar of soap or something will happen to her.
How do you make the ice and gelatin trick?
Ad just popped up.
This has got to change.
Yeah, and I covered some of that VIP treatment she's getting in that minimum security country club place that she's in right now. I cited from Jamie Raskin's letter from House Judiciary stating, what the hell is going on there? How is this convicted child sex predator being treated so nicely? A follow-up question on that. Don't you think the Department of Justice should now be gunning to go after Ghislaine Maxwell for lying to Todd Blanche? Because the production from the Epstein estate would suggest that she bald-faced lied to Todd when she sat down with him.
I mean, that's exactly what it appears like. I mean, look, there's no question that Ghislaine Maxwell obviously has a ton of information. I mean, she has and understood what the relationship was between Trump and Epstein. The emails that I'm just in the production that we had in these 23,000 documents and the ones that we put out, it's clear that she's aware. I mean, the comment she's making about Donald Trump, her intimacy and knowledge of victims, spending time with Donald Trump, her knowledge of possibly knowing about other meetings, other communications. It's clear that she knows about the relationship. She has information, and she's central to our case.
What about people like Steve Bannon, for example, Congressman Garcia, in those documents that were produced, the 23,000 latest tranche from the Epstein estate? Steve Bannon texting with Jeffrey Epstein, reading that Steve Bannon has some info. People like that. Shouldn't House oversight, including James Comer and the Republicans, be interested in knowing what Bannon knew as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that Steve Bannon is, it's really interesting. I mean, the relationship between him and Epstein is becoming more clear. And we saw some of the correspondence between the two of them that we put out as well. And he clearly has information about Epstein and the relationship with Trump that is going to be important. And so that is another person that we'd be very interested in speaking with. Obviously, there's no bigger supporter of Donald Trump, of course, than Steve Bannon. So we got to, understand that. But I think what's clear about the release of these documents is that all signs point back to the White House. And what the release did clearly over the last 2 days, as we've seen, is it's made Donald Trump go and panic and go essentially, he's obsessed now with keeping these things hidden. I mean, the fact that when we put those documents out and then the vote was coming up for the discharge petition, and to see him bring in Lauren Boebert to the Situation Room, to make calls directly to members. I mean, this is not normal activity for someone that claims he wants to release the files. He's hiding something.
And Todd Blanche had the gall to go on that cesspool called X and blame the Epstein estate, saying, they were hiding those records. And so I wasn't privy to them before I spoke to Ghislaine Maxwell. And that was in response to my friend George Conway's tweet that said Blanche either intentionally didn't ask Ghislaine about this stuff or was an idiot and didn't ask about this stuff. Either way, Blanche looks bad. I mean, the reality is the Epstein estate, to their credit, they're the only ones that are complying with a damn subpoena. The DOJ's got the same subpoena and they haven't been giving anything to House oversight.
That's exactly right. And what I've told people is what the Epstein estate has is so much smaller than what's at the DOJ. Yeah. So we're glad the Epstein estate is getting us documents. There's more to come from the estate, but it just pales in comparison to the full files that are sitting, apparently, according to reports, on Pam Bondi's desk and herself. And this idea that they're not releasing those documents that are under subpoena, it will be beyond being illegal and defying the U.S. Congress. They have the ability, by releasing those, to end this. I mean, all of the back and forth between the president and the White House and this and that and release the files. Let's solve this now. Let's bring justice to the survivors now, which is why I'm so glad that likely next week, every Republican member of the House will have to be on record and prove to their constituents, do they support transparency or are they going to continue to cover for Donald Trump?
And for those Americans that don't really understand the process in that, Congressman, is it really going to be literally that, a roll call vote where each member of Congress is going to be asked if they are in support of this bill to force the DOJ to have to turn over the entirety of the Epstein files?
I mean, that's what we expect. We obviously things, can change and there's procedures that we've got to get past. But it appears that this upcoming week there will be a vote, and it'll be a vote that folks will have to go on record on.
Have you been hearing anything kind of behind the scenes, and without betraying confidence, of course, but more Republicans are going to be peeled off in terms of not supporting trying to, hide these records from the American people?
Absolutely. I've heard from Republicans directly. I think there's no question that more Republicans than the handful that signed the petition will vote yes. And in fact, depending how things go this week, I think there's an opportunity for it to be a significant chunk of Republicans that'll vote yes. I think a lot of it depends on Donald Trump, honestly. But I hope they do the right thing.
This is what finally helped.
I just popped up.
I had a follow-up question with you about the Epstein estate. To be clear, they're not done with production, correct? They haven't indicated that they are done. They're still providing it on a rolling basis?
That's correct.
And so people understand who are tuning in right now, when was the last time the Department of Justice actually turned anything over to House oversight?
I mean, it's been months now. And remember, when we first did that subpoena, they did their first they've only released one tranche of documents. So that first production, of that production, 97% of the documents had already been released to the public. So there was nothing really new. There were some flight logs in there that were new, but they've actually released nothing to us. And so they're sitting on an enormous amount of information. And it's critical for us. I mean, if you think about what's happened in the last few weeks, for example, the information we've been getting from the estate has been quite important and quite revealing. We've gotten important emails that have clarified information about even like Alex Acosta. I mean, we've talked his testimony. His testimony, for example, we now know that he was likely being untruthful to us about his knowledge about the financial records. I mean, we've learned an enormous amount about what happened during his tenure at the U.S. Attorney's Office and his line prosecutor and others wanting to prosecute other co-conspirators, wanting to go after financial crimes and money laundering. And Alex Acosta being CC'd on emails and now saying, oh, he didn't recall those or he doesn't remember. I mean, give me a break. There is a cover-up happening here, and our job is to expose it and then to, of course, support the survivors.
Well, Congressman Robert Garcia, I began this episode by saying thank you and to say it really is the duty of oversight to do this. In some extent, I do see there's some bipartisan support in this, but clearly it's up to you and the other Dems that are on this committee to keep on forcing this issue in a way that's really going to be beneficial for all Americans. So I thank you for taking the time to join me. I know you're incredibly busy, but I do know my viewers want to know what's happening. And so thanks for doing that today.
Anytime.
He's incredibly busy doing nothing. Never got a hold of me, never came back to me. Worthless representatives. I'll attach the link. Pass it along, and thanks for listening.